Good afternoon. I'd like to open up the Selectmen's meeting for Monday, April 15th, 2024. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda tonight is public comment. Got some members of the public.
Am I a member of the public?
You are. You are.
Yeah, I think this is regarding the agricultural commission money that we talked about last year. I came in because I never heard what the selectmen's decision was on that. I talked with Audrey and she had spoken with the planning commission, Lakes Region Planning Commission, or
I spoke to DRA.
DRA, and they had told her that what I was saying was correct, that that money was, unexpended money would go into a special account. But then I never heard what you guys decided or whatever happened. So that's why I came in, and now I'm seeing that there's been some decision that donation money unexpended would go to the agricultural fund, but not the unexpended appropriations.
In the operating budget.
Do we have any meeting minutes that reflect any decision that we would have made? Because I don't recall.
Yeah, it was back in October, and that's in the email I sent to Sue and Jack, asking Jack to set up the account. And what went into the account to open it was the 2023 community garden money. And Jack opened the account, the request was in October, he opened the account in February. And then I don't know the date of the email I just gave you, I checked with DRA for Parks and Rec because they were also thinking they got the rest of their operating budget, Conservation Commission, and Ag Commission. And DRA clearly says, no, they don't get the operating budget money. They get anything, their special accounts don't expire. So the money that's now in agricultural from the community gardens does not lapse. So if they have community garden money for 10 years, it doesn't lapse.
That's their money.
That's their money.
But not leftover operating budget money.
Correct.
Okay, so where is the confusion?
Well, now I think there's some confusion on what's getting into that, because I see 2 deposits in March, and I don't know who made those deposits and what that money is. So we need to have a process with all of our commissions that have money. So, for example, I don't have a check and balance of the rec commission, and that bank account fluctuates, but Parks and Rec should have basically a checking account, a checkbook, a check register, what comes in and out, and the treasurer, so that there's a check and balance. Because right now, things are just left for the treasurer. He does the deposits, he writes the checks, no one checks and balances. I mean, the auditors do, but there's nothing to actually check that against.
So it sounds like we can't make a decision without this missing information here.
Well, there's no decision to be made, there's a couple questions.
Okay.
But you guys voted in October to agree that.
Well, there's still a question of where this deposited money came from.
Right,
if
so
it came from-
questions.
right.
Yeah,
Those need to be answered.
right, correct.
Right, and I would like to see, the legal opinion, more so than this one here. This is just says they need to be appropriated into the fund in a sum certain, otherwise they lapse. But the law says whole or any part of money so appropriated in any year, and any gifts of money received shall be placed in an agricultural fund and allowed to accumulate from year to year. So I'm gonna get a legal opinion on this, because I don't understand it. They contradict each other.
You know, we can ask town council or NHMA. NHMA would be free.
Well, when this first came up and I had the meeting here, and then I saw you, after that, you said you had talked with someone and they agreed, and we were gonna go ahead and get it all set up, but now it's changed, so.
Okay, what do we need to do?
No, I guess I need to get an attorney.
I would encourage you to go to NHMA first.
Yeah, as an officer of the town, cemetery commission, I think she can go to the NHMA and
Mhm.
talk to Steve Buckley.
Yeah.
That'd be a good place to start, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, will you send me that contact information?
I will.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anything else?
Yeah, I've got the floor. Just to follow up on the Phineas Graves Cemetery, I did meet with Jimmy Bean and his equipment operator after our last meeting here. And we came to agreement on how that was all going to be handled, and I haven't been back to double check, but I assume it's all been taken care of.
You talking about the broken post?
The post, that he's gonna cement the post.
Yeah.
The woman that does the gravestones weighs like 90 pounds. I don't believe she can economically redo that post. So she'd have to get help, and Jimmy was like, no problem.
As long as you guys are in agreement.
Yeah, and the big boulder that is out of place, we found a place to put it, maybe we're just gonna move it.
Excellent,
So that was good.
thank you. Anything else?
I'm thinking there was something else, but I'll have to wait till I remember it.
All right, moving on to the review and approval of minutes. We've got minutes from, draft minutes from Board of Selectmen's meeting from April 1st. I have reviewed the minutes and I have no corrections to
I'll
make.
move, we accept the minutes of April 1st.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we have non-public minutes from March 29th.
I'll move approval of the 29th non-public.
I would second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, Chairman, it wasn't on your agenda, but you also have your work session minutes of, last Tuesday.
Oh yeah, we can go over those too.
Oh,
We can approve those.
Yeah, Dave, Selectman Dauphiné and myself went around with the road agent last week to take a look at projects for this year and a couple of concerns about some roads that he had for next year. So it looks like what we had talked about during the budget process of finishing Tuftonboro Neck Road, doing the base coat on the second 4,000 feet of road, and then doing a finish coat on the entire length, approximately 8,000 feet. Finishing Shirley Way, top coat, and whatever money is left over from the paving budget this year is gonna start work on prepping Pine Mill Drive. It's unlikely that we'll have enough money to pave Pine Mill Drive this year, but it can certainly get started prepping. And then in 2025, it looks like we will pave Pine Mill Drive and do a shim and top coat on Sodom Road and a shim and top coat on Ledge Hill Road. That was the extent of our meeting.
But what I requested is that you approve those minutes. And we can get them on the
And I would
website.
move that we approve the minutes as written.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
I wasn't there.
you were. Appointments, Jack Parsons, code officer.
32 building permits to date, 6 new homes. I've done 183 inspections and issued 11 COs so far this year.
Sorry, new guy, CO.
Certificate of occupancy.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I know what that is, but it wasn't
Yeah.
coming. Okay, thank you.
Well, the door closers are all installed in the power room, just waiting for the magnets to hold them open so I get the arms disconnected. Union Wharf's come along really well. They've driven in and they all the tie-off posts now, the conduits for the new lighting and the power for the bubblers and the fire motor all installed.
So they're getting precariously close to the end of their contract. Any idea?
Right, but we're gonna be waiting on lights.
Are we?
Because,
Okay.
well, excuse me, that was my next question about the, you said that they'd started, they ran piping.
They ran the pipes, yeah.
But they're
how long
unable
they're
to-
gonna be, they
They're
can't-
unable to put the buckets in, right?
No,
Because the
it's not
buckets are
that
part of
they
the,
come with the light, yeah,
Right,
so,
okay.
we're gonna replace the service down there is pretty old and it's kinda bad, so we're gonna replace with a 100 amp service. I talked to the co-op and they're gonna replace it right where it is, so. And there's some little lights on that pole we're gonna take down.
you thought that there was about a 5-week lead time on the lights? And how many weeks in are we? 2? 1, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's still about a month out.
yeah, it's gonna be right around their close date, but I already told them they're out, so they're gonna install a lot of the boards and leave some out, just can't do too much with the decking, so. We know where they're gonna go, the conduit's in the right spot, it's just,
So it's getting out into the middle or the end of May.
yeah.
And can we make this safe for people to
Right,
use?
it'll be that, and then we'll have to probably close it for a few days, I
Yeah.
don't know how much they're gonna get down, because they don't wanna screw it all down and dig it all back up again.
Right.
But it's not fair for them as well. That's gonna be the hold up on that, just so they for the lights, which wasn't in the original, it's over above, so.
Right. And there was really nothing we could have done to expedite that.
It was decided on, what to order when they're there to get decisions, so. Hopefully they'll come fast, that's all.
Okay,
Alright,
thank you, sir.
you're welcome.
So we should probably have a closeout meeting with our engineer on that at some point in time.
The engineer suggested having like a ribbon cutting and who knows if we get some great
Oh, right.
pictures.
Yeah, we get,
Ribbon cutting?
what's his name up here, the governor council, Kenny. He loves that stuff.
And if we get any good pictures with sunsets or whatever, it might be a nice cover for next year's town report.
Maybe we get the Mount to come in and dock there for the day, so we can
There
get
you
a
go.
couple of pictures.
There you go.
Do we know if our 445 is here?
Patricia Tarpey,
Yeah.
Dave Kribbe.
I'll go look.
Seeing as it's 444.
Yeah.
So what was the second road, Bob? I missed that.
For this year?
No, next year.
Next year? Sodom Road and Ledge Hill Road.
So Sodom is just the shim and top
Shim and
coat?
top coat,
Okay,
and same with Ledge Hill Road, shim and top coat.
so they're not gonna do anything with the drainage?
No,
I wish Jim were here, cause
Yeah.
that was one of the roads that was in that government application by the engineers.
Yep.
Alright,
I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunity to talk to him about that. You are 445, you've got Patricia Tarpey.
I am.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Let me come up.
Yeah, come on up.
Was just with someone from GW Brooks who's going to be joining me, but he'll be in a moment, I guess. I was here a year and a half ago. I've been talking to the select board and telling you about a 319 grant that the Lakeland Soccer Association had to do some mitigation on 3 sites that were identified in the plan, and they were within the top 10 sites. So,
Culverts, as I remember, of some kind.
well, one was on New Road,
Yeah,
there he is, where the bridge crosses the Melvin River.
right.
And the second was Northwoods Road, which is a gravel road. And then on Route 109, right near Melvin Village Marina, right there, across the street from where your public boat ramp is.
Right.
So we had received the grant to do mitigation at those 3 sites, and I issued a request for bids a year ago, nothing. So I reissued it this spring, I issued it last fall and this spring, and GW Brooks responded. So we have only 50,000 in the grant to put towards it. The bid came in at 92,000 for all 3 sites.
All 3, yeah.
But we've just been out visiting
Mhm.
all the 3 sites, and now there's a change of mind or whatever. You wanna give them your input?
Sure.
Feedback? Sure.
I believe I know Chip. I don't know the rest of you guys. I don't believe.
Yeah, we've met.
Have we met? I
Yeah,
apologize.
up at the nursing home.
Oh, okay, sure, yep. I'm Dave with GW Brooks.
Well, it's easy. Mine's Dave too.
Perfect, excellent. So we just took a look at Northwoods Road. My suggestion when looking at that is that you already have good drainage off the edge of that road where it is. And the best thing on any gravel road is the quicker you can get the water away from the road, the better. So where the road is sitting higher than the edge of the road at this point, my suggestion was to do nothing in that location, because anything you do is not going to really probably improve the situation at all. And if anything, it might make it more difficult for the road agent to maintain the edge of the road once you do that work. So that one location, that was my suggestion. We did bid it because that was part of the package, but when I was out there looking at it, that's my gut was when I was bidding it to begin with, was that, boy, it seems like this might be trying to fix a problem that is really maybe not needed to be fixed the way it sits.
Is there any standing water?
No. If you go out there and take a look at it, the road is basically you've got the high ground on the south side of the road and the low ground on the north side of the road. There's no ditches or anything in place on the north side of the road at all, and the design kind of was trying to make a ditch where I personally, building a road, I don't know how much you guys know about what GW Brooks does. We build roads, bridges all the time, so my expertise is that, and that was my opinion, was that to let it sit the way it is. I think it's going to work better than other options out there for that.
Why was it in the grant application then?
Well, I'm going on the input that we had in the management plan and the engineering designs, that these sites had been identified as contributing a lot of sediment or nutrient loading, possibly, to streams, or whatever, and, yeah. But it's not my expertise.
I would say you want to look at the culvert out there. The culvert is in poor shape. I would say that.
And you would think that it needs to be replaced?
Yeah, I would say so.
The one up at the top of the road.
The one at the bottom, that metal
At the bottom.
culvert, it's probably got some years left, but we're talking, 5 years, not decades.
And this grant would cover that?
It probably could, yeah.
But she's only got 50 grand. What about the other two?
Right, that was gonna be my next question.
Right. So we also just looked at
New road.
New Road, yes, if you wanna. And the original design called for some things that Dave again says that he doesn't agree with.
And we'll construct anything. I don't like talking us out of being paid for stuff, but at the same token, when something's stable and it's not causing an issue,
You don't,
I don't recommend throwing good money at solving a problem that's not there. So there is a paved swale with a level spreader that was designed on the I guess it would be the north side of the bridge. The swale that's coming down through there, it probably needs to get cleaned. It's probably just a spring condition where the town crew, I'm sure you guys got a lot of roads in town, so I'm sure that they're gonna get around to it at some point. But the ditch itself could be cleaned a little bit, but the actual work that was within the limits of the work on the plan, I don't see any erosion going on there. It really doesn't seem to be causing issues there. I think that there are definitely some issues at that bridge site. I think the bridge probably needs to get looked at some point in the near future. The concretes and the rebars are in really bad shape. So you might want to be looking at that as a totally separate project well outside of this, because that's not erosion control. But another erosion control item to look at would be on the inlet side of the bridge. The wing walls that were installed there, they got eddies forming behind the wings, so it's actually carving soil out there. That's something we couldn't handle within this project because it would be outside of the scope of the project, because it would require in-stream work, which would require permitting, and by the time we get all the permitting done, we wouldn't be able to do it probably this summer at that point. I would suggest trying to work with the plantings that were shown and maybe sliding them slightly to get them away from the riprap areas, because the riprap is going to help to stabilize some stuff. I would definitely look at that. I would also consider trying to potentially add some riprap in a few areas that didn't have riprap added. There's definitely some places that you can make that work there. The guardrail extension that was called out by the engineer, as a snowmobiler, I don't like the idea. I can tell you that right now. There's a snowmobile trail right there that's going to be impacted by that. I would suggest that the guardrail, as it sits, leave it be. And if and when you guys just decide to tackle that bridge, I'm sure the guardrail will come up as part of working on that bridge, because the anchors for the guardrail itself are not in the best of shape either. So that would all probably come up when you guys are addressing the bridge's structural issues. But it wouldn't be necessarily the rain garden that is shown there, because there's no point load. Typically when you build a rain garden, you're building it to handle a point load where you've got water that's all being placed in one location, and you put it into the rain garden, and then the rain garden lets it infiltrate in. That's typically the idea of a rain garden. On the side of a road, unless you're in a sag in the road where you've got considerable water coming both ways, rain gardens are hard to implement and actually thrive or survive, because you don't have enough water getting into them to keep the plants watered. I think that long term you could have some issues if you build the rain garden there, because you're not going to have actually enough rain getting into the rain garden to keep the plants alive. So my suggestion would be is to plant the plants that they have actually shown. Let you guys take a look at that. But you could plant the plants that they have shown, but just shy them away from the riprap that was placed out there. I'm assuming the road agent probably did some work out there to try to fix some washouts areas there. So just sliding those plants away from the riprap. The riprap, it's stable now, and I hate unraveling things that are stable already, because you open up a can of worms. So
Okay.
The rain garden wouldn't necessarily make sense unless someone's gonna maintain it.
that too.
Yeah.
And the third item.
Well, the other one we didn't,
109. We didn't stop and look at. I did. I just separately. That will require coordination with DOT, because that is a DOT road out there, and that is in my proposal that we would deal with that. But that's something that will definitely have some potential. There's gonna need to probably be some conversations between DOT, the town, and the landowners, because I don't know how much of that has gone on yet.
Right, no, and I think that was originally considered the smaller and least important of the projects. But it turns out it's the most expensive, I think.
It is. And most of that is because of traffic control. The other roads, you really don't have much traffic control. On the other two roads, 109, you get considerable traffic to deal with.
So what we could do is, you could revise the quote for what a culvert replacement on Norfolk Road would be,
So,
or not.
I apologize, I'm not familiar with the road agent in town. I've never actually conversed with him. Do you guys know, is he a a DES culvert maintainer? Does he have that certification?
I don't know.
That would be a question to find out. If he has his DES culvert maintainer certification, we could replace that culvert under his certification. We deal with that quite a bit. We've done that with the town of Molten Borough. We've done that with the town of Freedom. We've done that with the town of Ossipee. As a contractor, DES does not allow us to go out and get a culvert maintainer certification. I can promise you we know exactly what we're doing when it comes to that stuff, but they don't allow a private contractor to do that. So what is required is that if the road agent has his culvert maintainer certificate and the culvert is smaller than, I can't remember the size at this point, I want to say it's 30 inches, might be 36 inches, that we can replace the culvert without any permitting involved. All we have to do is we have to do we can upsize the culvert to, I believe it's 20% larger than what's existing. And I would tell you, I'm sure your road agent probably already tells you guys this, that if you're replacing a culvert right now and you're not upsizing it by 20%, you're making a mistake. Because of the storms we're getting 100-year storms, once and twice a year. If you're not upsizing every culvert that you put in, then you're making a mistake. So I would highly suggest upsizing from what's there. I didn't measure it when I was out there, but by eye, I'm guessing it was either a 12 or 15 inch. So I would go at least probably 18 inch if we can with that. And I would typically go with plastic. I'm not sure what the road agent typically uses, so.
Excuse me, he is certified.
He
It
is.
is.
Awesome. That's great news.
So it's this is a Northwoods Road, is that what we're
That's
talking about?
the culvert
So it's
replacement.
currently a 12-inch culvert.
Okay. No. That was so they were putting a 12-inch culvert in as a level spreader. That's what the engineer had designed.
Oh, okay.
So a level spreader basically is when you got water coming down and it's point loading, it's going to cut a furrow. So you put in level spreaders from time to time that will spread the water out. You put it in perfectly level so when the water comes down and lands on it, it flows over a wider stretch so you don't point load. And that's the first time I've seen a culvert be designed as that, but it makes a lot of sense. I can understand why that would work.
So how's this gonna affect your grant? I mean, they awarded you $50,000 to do 3 projects, now you're gonna do 1 maybe.
Well, when these estimates were put together, this is going on like 3 years ago.
Mhm.
So that's not an issue. I can go back to DS and say, okay, we can only do one project with the amount of funding we have.
Right.
Unless the town wants to find some money
I mean,
for some stuff, but
dollar-wise, I mean, this is Brooks's bid. The 109 project and the Northwoods project are pretty much the same money.
Very similar.
And I know we've had I don't know, this particular makeup of the board hasn't talked about it much, but we have in the past of redoing the Lake Street boat launch and the retaining wall and roadway there just below the church. And,
that was identified in the management plan.
right,
But I think 3 or 4 years ago, I think the board felt it was too difficult a project to get all the abutters on board? I don't know.
What a butters.
I don't know, that's what I can recall.
Okay, we don't have to ask the abutters permission to do things on our own property. And it is town property, so and if we're gonna do some more, we've just about completed the pier at 19 Mile Bay.
Yep.
And we wanna do the same sort of project down on Lake Street, and finally get that straightened around, as well as Melvin Wharf, if we can get to talking about that. But I'd rather spend money there, or have grant money spent there, than I would on Northwoods Road, personally, but,
Especially if it doesn't need anything,
right,
well,
and,
culvert,
Culvert's the only thing that I can see.
yeah.
yeah.
So for Lake Street, are you talking about, cause it's a gravel road area now?
Yeah.
And do you wanna pave it?
Oh, I don't know, we hadn't talked about that yet,
Okay.
yeah,
I don't know why we would.
I don't either, but, in fact, I'm not certain the DES would really like that page, cause it just, now you have no filtration off the road surface,
You know, though, they'd actually probably prefer pavement,
really.
typically, cause gravel, in DES's view, gravel and asphalt are both impervious surfaces. The difference is that the asphalt is a stable surface because it's not going to wash away, where the gravel can wash away and wash into the lake. So frequently, unless you've got some sort of engineered surface, like you might have like a grass paved system or something like that, where you've got some sort of structural support that allows the water to infiltrate in, typically DES, if it's already impervious, would rather see something that's stable and not going to potentially pollute the lake, typically.
Well, if we did the same thing that we've done down at 19 Mile Bay, and we were putting in a solid steel bulkhead.
Yep.
Which comes up well above the water line, so I
Yep.
don't think there's a runoff issue there. But, yeah, I mean, my feeling is if we can, I haven't read this, cause it's your project, not ours. But if we can coordinate that to go along with our plan to revitalize Lake Street a bit, that would be good, I think.
How far out is that project?
Well, it hasn't gotten off the ground yet,
Right, we haven't got the engineers in here. I mean, they've taken
but it's something that we know that we need to do.
yeah, Tyler Phillips took a look at it when we were looking at the start of the project for 19 Mile Pier. So it's on the radar, it just hasn't been engineered yet. But I could foresee that happening in the next year.
What do you need from us?
Well, I guess some guidance and direction. This grant money, I can get it extended, but I don't know for how long. So we had till the end of this year for this grant. But if Lake Street wouldn't be ready to go,
Well, how far out down in there are you going? I didn't see the,
It doesn't really go into Lake Street at all. It's
No,
basically taking
it's
care of
across the
the
street.
opposite side.
It was across the street.
Do you
Right.
think that you could do the work on 109 and do the culvert on Northwoods Road for the $50,000?
I wouldn't see any problem with doing that.
yeah, it's just adding a new road that pushes the budget.
Well, and I can go back and look at New Road because we are talking about reducing quite a bit of scope on New Road.
Mhm.
So now that I've had some feedback from people, I would be curious to hear from the road agent of what his thoughts are on how he wants to maintain, if we were to put plantings in there. I'd like to hear from him. I've never met the man, unfortunately, so I don't know, how he typically works in town or what he does for maintenance and stuff like that. But roadside mowing and stuff like that would actually be impacted by plantings, so I would definitely like to hear some feedback from him at some point before I, go and revisit everything. I'm happy to reach out to him and speak separate from the group, if that's what you guys would like me to do, however you want me to try to
Well, it
approach that.
sounds like we've got $50,000 to spend, and kind of a sort of a plan, nothing really etched in stone.
And you gotta come up with $42,000 worth of savings if you wanna include all of them,
Yeah.
or any of them, actually.
Yeah, so I think what you need to do is come back to us with how you wanna spend $50,000. And that sounds like that would include talking to the road agent,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. And so it probably would be something related to these three sites we originally got the
Mhm.
grant money for, but not to the full scope that's outlined here, because
Right.
as we visited the sites, it didn't make sense.
Is there gonna be any issue with the grant if one of the sites is not really touched? In other words,
No,
is it the-
no, because I can justify that with, hey, look, we only had 50,000, and that was estimated 3-4 years
Right,
ago.
plus another
Cost of
40.
everything's gone up,
Sure.
and DES knows that.
Yeah, okay, good.
You know, I don't wanna speak for my brothers here, but I think that, the selectmen as a whole could certainly get behind improvements. If you've got $50,000 to spend on our roads, let's see what we can do to make it happen.
Yeah, I'd hate to have to go to DS, say, sorry, can't do
Mhm.
these.
So you wanna come back to us with something a little more solid?
Sure, we'll talk,
Okay.
see what we can come up with.
Awesome.
Yeah, and, I'll make sure that our administrator gives the road agent your contact information as well, so that if you don't get ahold of him, he can get ahold of you.
Yeah, I have his cell phone number, but I haven't had any luck talking to him. Find out where he hangs out.
Busy man.
Yeah, okay,
Especially lately.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
Thank
one.
you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Great,
Give you guys my cards,
Thank you.
and
Yeah, if you can get Jim to give him, that's great, and we'll try and reach Jim as well.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you.
for your time.
Take care.
Thanks. Let's go.
Our next appointment's 5:15. You're waiting for,
I guess the bank is supposed to be here, I don't know.
yeah. She's got 7 minutes. Well, let's knock off, some signatures while we're waiting for our next appointment.
Yes, please. Did you get my email about the sewer?
We have a notice of intent to excavate. Fenton Varney's doing some excavation of Mountain Shadows. Could I have a motion to approve?
I'll move the approval of that signature.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have an application for a veteran's tax credit,
And all the paperwork's in
and all
order.
the paperwork appears to be in order.
I'll make a motion that we sign that.
All those
Excuse
in
me.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I probably do when I see her. I would have, I've been into a business with that bank for so long.
And we have a contractor's application for payment. This is for Leslie Roberts, who's doing our work at Union Wharf. This is a partial payment. Request for the amount of $151,257.20, which will leave a remaining balance of $91,422.35. And this is for work done to date.
And has our engineer took a look at it?
Our engineer has signed off on this.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we pay the bill then.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And it looks like there's a spot here for one signature.
Oh,
And Lakes Region Household Hazardous Waste is once again asking us to be a host facility. And they want this reviewed, signed, and returned by November 15th, 2024.
So we have a little time.
Yeah, we've got some time. I think this is gonna take some consideration. They're asking us to supply some people, porta potties, whatnot. So I think we need to take some time and review this and talk to our transfer station superintendent.
Right, we should have Dave Jeffers come in and explain himself too, because I didn't remember that there was any expense involved.
Right,
Excuse me?
yes.
Chris Rule actually met with them and dropped that off for signature. So he is open and willing to be a host site this coming year. So that's,
Well, it's good to know, but I think Dave Jeffers still needs to come in and possibly at the same time
that's Chris.
as Chris.
Okay,
And
perfect.
we'll have a meeting and talk about it.
All right, I'll set that up.
Could everybody get a copy of this application, please? Thank you. All right, our 5:15 appointment is here.
I'm here, Stacy
You
Trades, Meredith Village, I'm just waiting for Elise Cushion to join me.
Okay.
We'll take a peek, I'm sure she knows where the road is.
What's your last name?
Is this work on an action item? We have
Trites, T-R-I-T.
a couple action items in here.
T-R-I-T-E.
We have a letter from the assessor's office. And I'll read it aloud. Recently, a deed was received by the town transferring a portion of lot 5926 from Hodgson to Hunt. There has not been a subdivision of the parcel. Jackie Rollins, our tax collector, has researched the deeds and has found that the portion conveyed was a separate lot of record at one time, and there is no record of a merger request. It would appear that they may have been involuntarily merged on the tax maps. I believe that the Board of Selectmen could reverse that involuntary merger under RSA 674-39-AA, and the owner would need to imitate the process in writing per the RSA. And this is a letter signed by Rod Wood, our assessor. So we have a lot. Let's see if I can find this. This lot, Chip's familiar with this. This lot right here is the Hodgson property, number 7. This lot number 17 back here is the Hunt property. He bought the piece in the middle, in between those two. So you see this opening in the stone wall here?
Yeah,
And there's a stone wall back here on the edge of the Hunt property.
yeah,
This makes this piece of property landlocked,
yeah,
okay?
so no frontage,
No frontage.
yeah.
So if this lot was involuntarily merged, from what I'm reading in this letter, we can simply make a decision to undo a decision that was made by a previous Board of Selectmen many, many years ago.
Well, I'm not certain it was, I'm not certain that decision was actually made. And the involuntary merger is that you just can't have lots with no frontage of any sort whatsoever. There's no access to this lot.
Right.
So what, I mean, I wanna know what Hunt's intent is he gonna merge it into his lot? Cause we don't wanna get in the business of creating, lots with no access.
Correct.
You know, it just doesn't, I mean, I guess it's good estate planning if you're Alex Hunt, but it's not good planning on the part of the town.
So it's currently a separate lot? Or it's actually merged with one of the two properties?
It looks like it looks like its own, well, actually, I'm sorry, not 7, 6.
6,
Okay.
My
yeah,
apologies.
it's merged with 6.
It's merged with 6 because of that opening right here.
So the other thing being is that, I mean, I don't, Rob can decide what he thinks, but has it been taxed? I mean, has it just not been taxed at all? Or was it, when they did the assessment on the property, was it included in the overall acreage?
All right.
If they look at the tax card, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask, how would you like to, how would you like us to proceed?
I think Alex Hunt, or actually the landowner, because he doesn't own it currently, needs to go to the planning board, get this lot subdivided. And if it just takes some act by us to make it a taxable entity, then we can do that, but I wanna have some assurances that it's not all of a sudden a lot sitting out there in the middle of nowhere.
And you think that this can be vetted through the planning board process?
Yeah, he should be, he needs to, because he needs to merge his lot with this lot. So isn't that how they generally do that? I think so.
Yeah.
So this
By
lot has been
eliminating-
untaxed for X amount of time?
I don't know.
We don't know that. Yeah,
We don't know.
we don't know.
I'm sure it's been taxed.
There's no, well, not individually, because there's no tax number on it.
No, because it was merged with the Hodgson lot. It
Right.
was probably taxed as one piece of property.
Yeah,
Chairman, is there
So
a
if
copy
it's-
of a deed there also? Because it's my understanding that
There's a copy of the, I think it's,
the RSA,
there's a copy of the RSA, yes, but there's
because it's
also.
my understanding that piece in question that was involuntarily merged was actually sold to the other party, and it wasn't found in a title search. And so now they're asking
Indeed.
the selectmen to correct the involuntary merger because the sale has actually already happened.
okay, but it's not as simple as that. It just isn't.
Okay.
You know,
Just saying
if
what I
there was a
know.
merger, then, I mean, theoretically, she should go through a subdivision and unmerger it that way. We can do that executive action of unmergering the lot,
Mhm.
but it doesn't
That's
solve the problem of having a landlocked piece of property
It won't
with
be.
no tax number.
Yeah.
And so I need some assurances from Alex Hunt that it's gonna become part of his lot. That was my feeling.
Okay.
That's true, because sale as is right here, it's still a separate lot of record.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I understand what Chip's saying, if there is no subdivision, or,
If we dissolve the merger,
yeah, if there is no merging of the lot, then you have 2 separate lots of record, and you can't have a landlocked
Yeah, unless he wants to create
piece of
some sort of
property. Right.
right-of-way access to it, I suppose.
so who currently owns it?
Well, according to the deed, Alex Hunt owns it. Yeah. But I think Chip is right that it at least has to go through the process of being merged through the planning board.
Something's gonna happen with it.
Well, it's gotta be unmerged first before it can be merged with Mr. Hunt's.
Right.
Correct. But they have to, but wouldn't they have to have it at the same time?
Yeah,
You can't unmerge it for any length of time, because now you don't have, it's an orphan lot, right?
right. Now all of a sudden, the current owner decides, I don't like that deal, so you've unmerged it, so all bets are off. No.
There has to be,
No.
yeah.
So you want something from Mr. Hunt saying he's going to
Yeah,
put it with his.
or, and approval from the planning board that he's gonna merge these 2 lots. I mean, something like that has to happen,
Okay.
I think the next step is the planning board.
yeah.
The planning board may make a recommendation that the selectmen,
Very good, son. What?
whatever. You're dancing in your
I
seat.
am, I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I'd love to
Nobody
hear,
knows what it is.
I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I would say someone needs to do more research on it to figure out, is it a separate lot? Was it merged? Wasn't it merged? Who owns it? How has it been taxed? All of that stuff. You don't have you don't have enough information.
Does that fall on the assessor?
I agree, I think. you're
Right, we had our assessor recommend something.
No, it's not,
But he
doesn't
hasn't-
fall on the assessor to do title work or the subdivision,
Right,
research and all that stuff. No.
Oh.
That would fall on somebody's attorney usually.
Attorney, title search, yada, yada. I agree.
So that falls.
well, I don't think there's
that-
any attorneys involved, I think he just hired a title company, by the looks of it. I didn't see an attorney's signature anywhere.
No, but there's clearly,
I do know
Things
that
in
the
question.
Hodgkins have an attorney that's working with them on property sales right now.
That's one side of the equation, right?
Right, so, I mean, I don't know if they were involved in the hunt transaction,
Right.
but they might have been.
got that?
I do.
Okay.
I think we move forward with
Yeah,
15.
I'd love to take action, but I don't know what action we can take. All right, our 5:15,
We're
are
ready
we,
when you are.
we all here?
I had 2 customers on the way here then.
All right,
Fine.
I'd
All
like
right,
to
come
say
on up.
emergency, but.
come on up.
Sure. How are you guys? Thank
Very
you for
well,
your
yourself?
patience. Good.
You got one?
I know, because I marked it up.
I did not. You got it.
One of you is Denise Cushing?
That's me. How
Nice
are
to
you?
meet you, Bob Murray.
Hi, very nice to meet you.
Stacy Trice.
Nice to meet you.
Twister. Do you want one for the minutes too?
Thank
Is that
you.
helpful? Okay. So when I spoke to Cammie, she had said that you were kind of just looking for an overview of the relationship as a whole, what it looks like, and then some specifics on collateralization of funds. Is that correct? Is that where we're going?
Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
pretty much.
Okay, great. So
And
when
we
I,
got Jack here as well, do you know Jack?
oh, yes, hi Jack, how are you? So,
Jack, feel free to come up to the table if you feel so inclined.
I'll pack it too if you would like.
I don't have to.
I have extras. So just a little bit about what we offer for municipal services. Second page is an overview of the different accounts that are currently held by the town. Any interest if you are earning it in the account type. Regular checking accounts, as most of us are aware, do not earn a rate, but the bulk of the funds is in the money market account, which at this point you're earning 1.25% on. So that's the different types of accounts and the rate that you're earning. And then we can go back over this after we, if you guys have questions. So, the collateralization, the majority of the funds for the town are collateralized in what's called a Federal Home Loan Bank letter of credit. And the others are secured with securities that we own. So, this is as of 12/31/23. That's when we update all the collateralization letters, but it's carried through. So all funds are completely FDIC insured through your collateralization agreements. It does name the specific securities that the FHLB is in. And then the last page, there's a spreadsheet, and that breaks it down as well as to what amounts from what accounts are collateralized through the Federal Home Loan Bank, and then the total down there at the bottom. And this is something that is watched very, very carefully to ensure that there are never any funds that are going without being covered and collateralized. So that is that. And then I also did include, because some folks want to know that the FHLB letter of credit is sufficient collateralization. So we have this as well, the letter that states from the state of New Hampshire that it is appropriate to collateralize municipal funds in such a manner.
So currently, the only party I think who gets the account balances and statements is Jack, or do you get
I
them?
do.
No, she has,
Okay.
she has full access to those.
And then access to them is only through Jack.
What do you mean by access?
Okay, let's say we have $3 million in the
From the money market
general
account.
fund, and we've got a
Yeah,
school tax bill due tomorrow.
Most of the funds are in the money market account.
Okay,
I usually keep between $200,000 and $300,000 in the operating account for weekly expenses.
excuse me.
When we have a big bill for the school district, so we have one bill that's like $1 million
Right.
for the school district. I'll sign that check, and you guys will sign that check.
Right,
It's paid on Tuesday. I usually transfer enough money from the money market account over the weekend, maybe Monday or Tuesday of that week, because they're not gonna cash the check until later that week. I'll make sure we transfer enough money into the operating account to cover any expenses.
and is that statutory? That's the only way we can put this together?
Is it statutory?
I just,
Well-
you know, I'm
Well,
a plane crash kind of guy.
we'll put it this
What
way.
happens if Jack's not with us anymore?
Well, then Audrey could certainly transfer funds.
Can I?
Yeah, I think you've got authorization to transfer. Yeah.
Through online banking?
Can you verify that?
Yeah, I can double check
Okay.
that,
Yeah, we can
but,
double check.
yeah, because, it's interesting, because when I first took over as treasurer way back when, there was about $2 million in the operating account and $200,000 fixed amount in the money market account.
Backwards.
Just backwards.
Yeah.
So I changed that whole process, and, I think right now we're on track to make about $30,000 in interest this year on the money market account by keeping most of the funds there on a regular basis as opposed to in the operating account. So that's pretty much the way it's been.
At 1.5%, now you're making more than that.
Well, and that was a question I was gonna ask about the money market account. I know we have money going in and out. I just, in a different bank, I just transferred and put something over $200,000 into a money market account, and I'm getting 4.25% on my money market. So there's gotta be a better, something better that Merritt Village can do for us, with the amount of money that we have on the money market account. And in fact, another bank, just in another business I'm involved in, we put $60,000 into a money market account, and I'm getting 3.75% on that account. So there's gotta be something that Merritt Village can do, looking at the amount of money that's going through that account to up that rate from 1.25%.
We can do better.
Yeah.
There's a cost to the collateralization aspect of it,
Sure.
that isn't realized necessarily by a typical business.
Sure,
But we can close the gap,
yeah.
on that money market. I would say some municipalities have it set up, and every municipality is different, and the people involved in every municipality are different, especially in New Hampshire. But some have it set up so that, they set some, and Elise can talk to this more, but they set some sweep thresholds, so, if the balance in your operating account needs to pull money over, or if there's excess funds in there that you want automatically to move over. Some people like that automation, other people like the control. It depends on, the management style, I think, in each community, and
And then
rather.
the second factor that comes into that is on the bookkeeping aspect as well. So if we set it up in an automatic sweep, which most people are happy to do and we're happy to accommodate, depending on how many transactions are coming in and out of the accounts that they're coming out of and into the money market, it's gonna trigger another transaction every day.
Right.
So it's a little bit more to reconcile. So some people, depending on what the difference is, they may wanna go one way or the other.
And how about sweep fees? Because I know we were involved in a sweep with another business that had a lot of money going back and forth. And it was the same kind of thing, there's fees involved for, setting up sweep accounts and all that.
No,
So-
because it remains on our balance sheets, considered non-balance sheet sweep, so there's no cost.
So, but I think a different issue then, you're kind of questioning who's the backup? Jack's not available, who's the
Right.
backup? And you
Yeah.
wanna
Yeah,
know
we'll figure
who
that.
can access through, do they use cash management?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
With
we
ACH.
can figure that out, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then the other, it has to do more with automation and,
Right.
you know, so two
Well,
different,
and decision making as well, as like,
Sure.
you talk about the money market and sweep accounts, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we all need to be kind of,
Oh, yeah,
In the
as far,
mix.
yeah, as far as sweeping, I'd have to think about that, whether that would be a
Mhm.
bookkeeping nightmare, or
Mhm.
if the way I do it now is an easier process, only when we need the funds, you know.
right.
uh,
And I think back to the, Jack's not here who gets to do it.
Yeah,
I think we need to have a signatory do it. I mean, I trust Audrey implicitly, but I think it has to be a person who's on
Mhm.
the account. As
and we could,
opposed to-
yeah, and that's certainly a,
Yeah,
but you'd have to have access to those accounts, because right now,
Right.
none of you are on online banking as
Right.
such. So that would be a different,
and access with Audrey is fine.
yeah,
I just think that we need to have signatories included in that.
sure, yeah, that's not a bad
Matrix.
idea,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So if
Yeah.
I was to, do a transfer like that, could they just approve it with a fob, similar to a direct deposit?
So internal transfers don't require an approval. So can be done by one user. It's different in the fact that with ACH, which you do have to have the fob, there is a different second approval because it's leaving the institution, going outside the institution.
Right.
Where the transfers would be internal, it's only a one-person transfer.
Well, maybe that would be a document that, a document that we create here in
It
town.
would be an internal
An
document.
internal document
Just a
that
control-
says,
control
Yeah,
policy.
a control policy within the selectmen's
Yeah,
purview.
it's just CYA,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Sure. Yeah,
better
you
to
got-
have the conversation before you
Yeah, yeah.
run
yeah,
into it
yeah,
than,
you should- yeah.
than
Never know when
scramble.
the bus is gonna come by and take me out, so, you never know. Yeah.
Hope not.
Or if I no longer wanna be treasurer, then, that, somebody else might.
Yeah,
have
but a little
to step
background
in
kind of
for
on how the online banking cash management system works is Jack is set up as the admin because he's the treasurer, but he can give other users
Mhm.
access to the accounts at different permission levels. So, for instance, if you all decide that, Audrey can have what we call view access only, so she can see the accounts, pull the reports and reconciliation things that she needs to do, she can do that. If Jack wants to set one of you gentlemen up as a user to be able to do transfers, he can do that with those rights as well. So you have full control over
Okay.
whom can access and do what within
And
the online
currently
banking.
Jack's doing his own bookkeeping. Are you?
Reconciliation.
Well, I reconcile on Unismart for the operating account.
Mhm.
I do my own reconciliations for all the little sub-accounts, because I've got that on a separate, because that's not on your system at all. So
Right,
that's on my system.
that's
Yeah.
$150,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unelected officials get to screw around with.
Yeah, not really, but the auditors look at the bank
Right.
statements every year, so. But that, and, it's interesting because the planning board account, you'll notice, has $80,000 in it, which has never had anything like that before. And all of $75,000 of that is from Ridgefield.
Right.
And we never had any bond like that I ever took from anybody in the past. And I don't know why that came to directly to the planning board as opposed to within the operating process. But it's okay, that's where it is, that's where it sits.
So it's bond money that's sitting there?
The bond,
Yeah.
$75,000 worth
It's
of bond.
hotel,
money
I
sitting
think.
there.
I think
Well,
that's pretty
explains a lot.
common though,
It-
to have
it
those
must be,
funds
that's-
like earmarked in a separate
Yeah,
account.
but for
Yeah.
for like 17 years, I've never had a
Yeah.
bond like that value
Yeah.
on the books.
Yeah.
But that's where it sits.
Yeah, I was just looking for some accountability,
Yeah.
so that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, most of that, the smaller accounts, when I do the monthly reconciliations and I put them in the reconciliation drawer for the auditors to look at. And, this year I didn't even talk to the auditors. I don't know if
they came by,
Yeah,
they,
we paid them.
yeah, so they must have
They
done
did
their thing and
something.
they didn't have any questions for me, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the rest of it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And you got all of our signature cards all.
Well,
Should I finish them off?
yeah, you finish them off.
Perfect.
Yeah, you wanna, just wanna
Yeah, we're
double
here.
check and make sure that there's no
I
missing
brought blank
signatures
copies
there,
with
but
you just in case.
I think we got them all.
Yeah, and I can get these back to Laura to make these changes.
We'll get Dave on the checking account.
Yeah.
And all of that was just because,
He doesn't do
Change
DocuSign.
well, no, I understand, no, that's.
Oh, yes,
that's-
Yes,
that's
just be,
not-
yeah, every time a
Every
selectman
year.
changes,
Every year.
I don't
Well,
remember
I suppose
doing this
technically
though.
you could not have that.
I remember signing up once and then, I don't know, we've had any number of
Alright.
elections since then.
well, I think we did, when Bob came on, we
Yeah.
did them all over.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't.
I had to do a bunch of signatures.
I don't know.
Yeah.
when I came on.
Yeah, but I just don't remember that we all had to do them,
Oh,
I don't know.
that's all.
So they're good, you can put them back in your envelope if you like.
And Stacy just, brought up another tool that we have, launched since the last time that we all met, called Positive Pay. Some of you may be familiar with that. So what that does is when your accounts payable issue checks, they upload a file to the online banking, and as those checks are presented for payment, it compares them. So what it does is helps mitigate check fraud, because unfortunately, there's a lot of it out there with mail interception and check duplication. So that may be something that you all wanna consider as well at some point.
And there's a fee associated with that?
Typically there is with municipalities, however,
You can take a look at it.
yeah.
Sure.
But, you know, it,
We
We
but it
would have
all
to-
depends.
They
I
would
mean,
have to scan all the signed checks up to you?
no, it's just you would create, like an Excel file or a CSV file,
Okay.
which you can usually export
Mhm.
whatever your
Sure.
software
Yeah.
is. And then there's just a link within cash management that says Positive Pay, and you're just going to use upload your file, it goes to our system.
Mhm.
And as checks are either presented through the
Yeah.
Fed for clearing or at a teller line or one of our branches, if there's any sort of mismatch, because there's certain requirements for information that is presented, say if it's amount, payee, date, whatever, if anything doesn't match, it's gonna flag that and say, hey, something's been altered on this check. Or
So then there
something
is
doesn't
some
match.
work on our side to get those into the system.
Right, so when they're issued, yes, that would be an upload, that would be done.
I think it would be very similar to what we do right now with the direct deposit, because it creates a CSV export file and I just upload it. So it would be uploading basically two files.
yeah, we have seen some businesses and even a municipality, that old, where people filter a check out of the mail and wash it and recreate it with a different amount and a different payee, or maybe the same amount with a different payee. And
So
it,
we're really laundering the money.
yeah, yeah, and the old, like literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it can, you know, once that happens, you know, obviously that account has become compromised as a result, and it can be a headache to have to all of a sudden establish a new account and set up those new,
Sure.
but, you know, and it depends how, you know, it's just a prevention tool,
Mhm.
that we have, so
So in
certainly.
the event that something were to happen and you picked it up through this system, that precludes having to reestablish an account?
Well, I mean, I think we look at each situation one by one. Like, what was the risk? What was the, you know? But if, you know, ideally, what it's really preventing is any loss.
Right.
You know, most times we absorb the loss, but it just it's a headache.
Yeah.
Because then we have to know, okay, what are all the real what are the authentic checks we need to pay? What are the items we don't want to pay? And it just becomes a lot of.
Is it actually
babysitting.
on the presentation of the check that they can flag it, like immediately?
Yeah. So if it, I mean, you can speak to this probably in
So
better
they won't
detail than
even
I
cash the check,
can.
so to speak.
That's the idea.
Yeah, so what happens, if it's presented like at the teller line, for instance, like some, yes, Yeah, so what happens, it's presented, there's a mismatch, our system, our core system will tell the teller, like, there is a positive pay issue with this check. At that point, the teller will reach out to whomever is authorized on the account to verify the validity of the check or confirm that it is in fact not. If like, for instance, sometimes there's just an error in the upload and maybe the amount was missing or the decimal was in the wrong spot or something like that, and it's confirmed, say by Jack, and he says, oh no, that's correct, go ahead and pay it, then it'll get paid. If not, and we're not able to reach anyone, it will not be negotiated. Anything that comes through on the online system, that needs to be, again, looked at daily, and decisions need to be made on what's called an exception. So anything that comes through that's different is called an exception. Those will be listed in the positive pay through online banking each day if there are any. Someone would need to have that responsibility to log in daily prior to 1 p.m. to look to see if there's any exceptions. If they all look good and everything's correct, they'll automatically pay. If not, then you can exclude them and they will not be paid.
So there's one other step involved.
It sounds like it's on our end.
Yes.
And it's on our end,
sure.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just uploading, it's
And then you would check it the
verification.
next
Checking.
day.
to verify. But that's limited to just whatever you flagged, right?
Correct, yeah, if everything else comes through, and if the checks are presented and match exactly as the file is uploaded, then they're automatically paid. So
Right.
honestly, rarely are there exceptions, so usually a quick look, oh, nothing's there. If there is, it's maybe one item, it's not something that happens very often,
And that's
we hope.
on the bank
Definitely
website,
Becomes
right?
a
So it isn't like you gotta go
fraud,
somewhere
and
else to check
I would think
this.
it becomes criminal at that point.
Mhm.
No, you would do it through your cash management,
Yeah, once,
Yeah, right
once
through
you
the
log on
online.
to cash management.
Right.
yeah,
So
for your
you're
online banking
You're
login,
there all
yeah.
the time anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a tool we wanna make you aware of, you know, fraud is,
Yeah, there's
is,
more and more
is,
talk of it. So.
is, yeah, in the headlines more and more, and rightly so, it's real.
Right.
Good, thank you. Do you have your questions answered?
I do, Bob, thanks.
So I think, what I heard is you're gonna come back to us and see if we can make more somehow on the money market account.
Yep.
And Jack can decide if he wants to go to the automated transfer, and then the board's gonna consider positive pay, right?
Right. And we'll
Sounds like a plan.
coordinate with Jack about
Yep.
authorization.
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, so catch up with
Thank
that.
you very much.
Or you can go back and do some pencil sharpening,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah, excellent. Alright, well, we truly appreciate your business, you know, we, you know, our municipalities and, relationships in every town around the lake, really are who we are. So we appreciate being able to have your business, and take those deposits and, you know, loan them out and put them to good use. So,
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks for
And my
coming in.
apologies for my tardiness.
nice to meet you.
Yes, it was
Thank you.
a privilege listener. Very nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
Alright,
Lovely evening, everyone.
you too, thank you.
Nice to meet you, I've never met you.
Moving on, Parks and Rec.
There's a stack.
Right.
Yeah. It's like twice a month.
Did you get one of these?
Nothing?
Welcome, Dave.
Oh, thank you.
Just hope you're up by 7, you got responsibility.
I know.
And
I missed the meeting. I'm coming though.
All right,
I
we're
didn't bring
counting on
that
that,
up, I
Chip.
was gonna, but you did, so.
Yeah.
Next meeting is May 7th, and we need you there,
Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
okay?
First Tuesday of the month.
You got it. First I want to introduce Ella Meserve. She was our swim instructor last year, she's coming back this year.
Thank you for coming back.
She's from a background of educators. Her mother's the principal up in Conway L. Her dad's one of the big guys up at Kingswood Bowl. She's from a swim family. One thing led to another, so we had an opening as assistant director. I want to introduce her as our new assistant director, Parks and Rec.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
She's got some great ideas already, so we're excited to have her. I'm gonna just move real quick through things that have just happened, about to end and about to start. And then I wanna reserve a little bit for the design of Central Park, if you don't mind. Is that okay? Okay, first, mooring permit, we have to get the attorney to update that lease, for the mooring with the, town of, Wolfboro and,
Oh, it had a time on it?
yeah, it's year by year, so I
Okay.
can get that to Audrey and we
Yeah.
can get the attorney to do that, sure. Now, the gentleman who was in here on that dirt road, he wanted swim lines, I believe, remember he was here?
Yeah, Lang Pond Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lang
yeah.
Pond.
Oh,
I think I have to get a swim line permit for that too. Just going online and looking for the mooring permit, I saw that and I says, I better question that. I mean, we got extra buoys and stuff, we said that would help them out, but I assume I gotta get a permit.
yeah, I don't know, do we ever make that decision, Bob? I don't.
We talked about helping him out somewhat, I don't remember what
Yeah.
the details were. I think that if there was any expense involved, he was gonna absorb the expense, but we would help by putting out the lines, something like that. Same thing with speed bumps, we'd offered speed bumps, if you bought them, we'd put them up and down.
He was basically saying the boats are coming right into the shore,
Yeah.
people were there or something, so it was more of a safety thing. But I don't wanna make out a
Boy,
form.
that water's very, very shallow for a long distance.
Oh, it was, no, I
I
know,
don't know how boats can get in there.
no, I know.
But it's a great place for young kids to swim, right? So
Sure,
it'd be
yeah,
an
absolutely.
additional swim
Yeah.
location for Tufton Borough families.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that we need swim lines there?
Again, I came across that, application for swim lines, and I just need to
Right.
know if I have to do it.
Is there an expense involved for the permit?
I'm not sure, I didn't.
And once you've,
I'm a mooring guy, you know what I mean?
once you've installed swim lines now, what other regulations kick in? I mean, that's the one place in town where we're allowing dogs to go in the lake.
Oh,
Is that gonna I think we would run into a lot of political pushback if that was eliminated.
Right, and it's so shallow, do we really need swim lines?
Yeah.
We just need the buoy to protect the
we'll
people,
have to look
the
back and
kids.
see how we left it with them.
Yeah,
Go back to the minutes.
Yeah, okay. Real quick, Easter, we had a nice weather day, it was still snow on the ground, but 5 and under, we had 71 kids. Ages 6 to 8, we had 28, and then 9 plus, we had 29, so 128 kids on Easter hunt.
A lot
Talk
smaller
about,
than last
do you have
year.
enough eggs?
it is smaller, yeah, we had 5,000 eggs.
Wow.
But you take 128 kids, one, maybe 2 parents, you probably got over 300 people, not all there at the same time. So I think by spacing it out, it kind of worked out really good. We thank Sentinel for their help on that. Dodgeball ended last Thursday. We gave out shirts to the top 2 teams. Adults don't want trophies, they love the shirts.
Sure.
For sure.
Sure.
3-on-3 basketball ends tomorrow night. Again, same thing, double elimination tournament. Shirts to the winners. Ballroom dance, I didn't get an update, but from what I understand last Monday,
We were there late.
no, I got an email from the janitor. And, it was the first night, I guess, of that thing, and she had to be out of there by 8. So, well, I didn't get a number on how many people you had.
Yeah, I don't actually know what the final number was, but it was a good group. Like,
Yeah.
it had to have been 15 couples at least.
Yeah,
Wow,
Somewhere between 15 and 20 couples. And
awesome.
A
great.
number of those, probably almost half of them were under 20 years old.
Oh,
So
Yeah, you said there's a group of homeschoolers.
I think they're homeschoolers. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Dave. The cornhole starts May 21st with 12 two-man teams. We have 7 now, so we do have some openings. We're involved with the school with the Family Fun Night on May 31st. We have a new program starting up at the Central School. Thanks to Mrs. Pickleball, we're gonna do youth pickleball, and that's gonna be grades 4 through
In the
6.
in the gym?
Yeah, there are 3 courts, so that's gonna be starting. It's only
Next
gonna be
week.
4 dates, it's kind of an introductory,
mhm.
teaching, fundamental type lesson thing, so, May 9th to the 30th, that's gonna happen. Coming back, we do have sailing, we have the outrigger, and we have yoga. I've been in contact with all of them, they're all coming back. Concerts are all set. Again, it was $4,500 for the 8 groups. We have 5,350, so we got 850 to the plus. So that's pretty good.
That's what we all like to hear, right?
Yeah. Swim lessons, again, Ella's making the application now, that's going to the schools. And I gotta tell you, last year, she had an imagination. I mean, she really took to the kids, but I think she invested a lot of her own money for certificates, toys, everything else. And I think kids I think you had 30 kids total, and I think we got a good jump on it this year, so we're looking forward to that. Chip saw me carrying a big box in. We have 100 Tuftonboro shirts we're gonna give out at Old Home Days to residents only, by the way.
Good.
Okay, I'm gonna make a point on that.
Yeah, well, it's Wolfboro people getting this.
Yeah. One of the programs Ella's gonna start, it's gonna be a Saturday before Mother's Day. It's gonna be making a Mother's Day bouquet. And we're probably gonna try and get the library for that, but that might be a new program. It might be one of these things we just talked about, it that if they have a father-daughter dance, if you're a father that don't go to that dance, you're a bad father. So it might be the same type thing that this whole Mother's Day bouquet might work out.
So it would be the mothers
We're gonna
and sons or
tearing families
daughters.
apart, is that our
No,
job?
we're going to
Yeah.
encourage mothers and families in a good way.
So we got all the banners in for the concerts, sponsored banners are coming. We are gonna run programs before the concerts. 3 of the dates we're running bingo. We got all the bingo stuff in, and we're gonna be giving out, not money, but some of the prizes are goofy, some are gonna be good, but we're gonna have kids, people come an hour early, play bingo. Another night we're gonna have karaoke. Another night we're gonna honor our sponsors. So out of the 8 nights, we're gonna have a little program, before the concerts, so.
For an hour before, 5:30 to,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's it on that. We do have a couple of incidents at the central school. There is a tree down there, and I know Audrey's contacted Jim Bean. But Babe Ruth is starting, of course it affects the recess. And the other incident they've had up there is these wasps. I guess, I talked to the principal today, they spent quite a bit of money, the main office, about treating those moths, wasps. But they're pretty dangerous. They went away, I guess, with the snow, but they're back again. And I guess the females are underneath, and they're worse.
Are they actually ground wasps?
Yeah. So that whole section is closed over there. If you drive up there, it's all fenced off and
Taped in.
everything else. So I told them we'd be on board for whatever they need. But
Are they on the school property or the town?
it's kind of like both. It's kind of both. Half the playground and half kind of going towards the parking lot on that little uprise there, so, that could be dangerous too. So, it was treated.
Do we have any pest control? I don't know, I don't
We use
recall.
JP Pest.
Well,
Yeah.
they sent,
Do we
they
have
got,
JP pest
They-
already?
they've already called someone, and I guess she said it was pretty expensive. So, just like they came in.
Stock up on Benadryl, is that what the alternative is?
Yeah, that's important for somebody who's allergic.
All right, so I'm not sure if you have copies, but I'm gonna turn it over to Joyce, let her talk a little bit about the Central Park design. We did get a copy of the design, it was at our last meeting.
Oh, you have one, well, this is the whole packet with other things.
Members really didn't have a
There you
chance to look at it, next meeting's gonna be important.
Oops, sorry, there you go. So let me just go through this quickly because it's important. So looking at the packet first, as we all know, there was a warrant article, online town meeting, I was not here, but it passed, and that's exciting. So we have
Barely.
passed barely, but you only need 1 point to pass. And it was the legislative body of voters who passed it, right, Chip? I remember that comment. Anyhow, so here we are. This packet, I just want you to see in black and white here that we have the Tuftonboro Times that went to all of the homes here in town, so they're aware of it. The second page in your packet is the Granite State News in December of '23, had a very nice article right after our CIP meeting who were very favorable to this Central Park idea project. And then we have the whole packet of the conceptual plan that Andrew Lester Bellaterra, who is our design builder and consultant that we hired. And if you look at this, I want you to breeze through it. If you have any comments or questions, we'll do that.
I do, I have a question.
Okay,
We all know that the playground at the school,
Davisfield.
Davis Field,
Yes.
We need a new playground there.
Yes, we do.
Would that playground at the school come first before this one?
This, actually, what we're talking about here is phase one.
Mhm.
So we're not including the playground in this year's or whatever time frame that is. That's phase two of and the reason we're doing a playground at Central Park is because the playground at Fossfield, I'm sorry, pardon me, Davisfield, is for the school children. So therefore, the families in town who have preschoolers or after whatever are not allowed to use that playground. That's why parents have asked us as
During
Park and
school
Rec
time.
During
Commission.
school time,
During school
Right,
time.
right, during school time.
yeah.
Can't use that. So that's why we're considering as phase two in another year or so, doing a playground there.
Where would the playground at the school come into play?
The playground right
Time-wise.
here
No.
Oh.
Time-wise, the playground at the school, where would that?
does need upgraded, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started on it. We've cut those trees, you and
All
Zach.
trees were cut, some of them, I mean, it's over 20 years old, the rusted pieces have been taken away. There's a couple apparatus that aren't there anymore, so definitely needs an upgrade, no question.
Yeah, and so what we've done as a commission is, one of our board members, Sarah Warner, who has small children, is very interested in playground. And at that point, we had Jeff Wisner,
Yeah.
who is, his term ended. But anyhow, they had the catalogs, we were going to upgrade that playground with the latest, materials but he moved on and, time moved on. But it's definitely on our docket to consider. That's an excellent question. And we, yes, wanna do it. It's been ignored way too long. I mean, to be honest, I was really embarrassed to see the shape that it's in, but we'll change that.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob. And on this handout, you can see right here's where phase two, the playground would be over here in the grass area, which is, again, safety for the fire department right there. Couldn't be a better place. And that will be, down the road. The other thing I want you to see is on page, they're not numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, page 5, it's the financials, the budget estimates, always of interest. And you might notice that the consultation and the park design, which is what you're looking at, that's this packet that we're handing out. The Park and Rec Commission authorized, accepted the $12,500 cost, which is very reasonable. We have, through your authority, paid them $6,250. Tonight, we're asking you to, approve the other $6,000. Now that we paid the $6,250 up front before we got it, so they could do the actual work and planning and so forth. And then we said, when we get this plan, then we'll pay the additional or the remainder. But what I want you to be aware of tonight is, and we just realized this, is that in that budget estimate, these designer, builder, consultants that we've hired through a RFP originally, because they want to do this for their hometown area, are going to reimburse us that $12,500.
Nice,
Very nice, isn't it? It's wonderful.
very nice.
So that's why it's highlighted. Is yours, Chip? It has a yellow, you'll see the yellow mark on there.
Very nice.
It is on mine.
Oh, you're looking at your own, not the,
So the other $6,250 that you're asking for tonight
yes.
will come from the $10,000 warrant article that was passed at town meeting.
Okay, whatever you say, yes.
That's what it was there for,
Right.
for design.
Okay, great. I mean, we have donated funds available in our commission's budget, but if you wanna, that's
Well,
what
we
you
didn't
want.
catch that until today, that.
Well, I
it's
told
actually
him today,
donated.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Well,
It
that's-
wasn't worded specifically for the design, so if the town wanted to graciously accept a donation to pay for it, then that 10,000 could sit there even for next year when they come forward with additional development to the property. Like a dog park or whatever they're
It
The,
is
the
proposing.
dog park is part of phase one,
Yes, I haven't read it all, but
okay.
that money isn't specifically for design.
Well, then I think I'm gonna ask what you folks wanna do. Do you wanna take that $6,250 from your donated funds? Or the $10,000?
Is the warrant article money non-lapsing?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure.
I would defer to the three of you to make that choice, right?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought I heard you say, Joyce, that the money donated was specifically for the 12,000. To cover the 12,000.
It was donated, for this project, for the, multi-use trails that included skills training
So
area.
it was for the park in general.
So I
Right.
would say,
And it's all the park,
use that
Which- yeah.
first, leave the 10,000.
Well, I
As much
thought,
of that.
yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I thought that the warrant article was for the design.
I think it was, yeah.
I'll get the copy.
yeah, I didn't even see the
You have
one,
it
I
there?
wasn't here, so I don't know what it ended up being.
Here we go.
Here we are.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 to establish a Central Park Capital Reserve Fund, which will be used for the upgrades to the Central Park property with the
Mhm.
Board of Selectmen as agents to expend.
Oh,
So it's
No,
pretty,
we didn't.
pretty open.
it's pretty
Yeah.
broad, yeah.
Okay.
So whatever you three decide is fine with us.
Yeah. I mean, there's more, I'd be happier if Parks and Rec paid for the design. And we keep the 10,000 separate, because we need to ask for a lot more money by the looks of this.
Well, eventually, when this project comes to fruition and we have a budget, which we're gonna present at another town meeting,
And it's
this
easier to
10,000 could
say,
be added to it.
okay, we have a $10,000 capital reserve fund already established,
Mhm.
and this is what we're looking for to do the rest. Than it is to go, I mean, it's an easier sale than we spent $10,000 on the design and now we want some more money.
Mhm.
Right, because the money that we would have are donations, so it's not tax money, it's not, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
you. I think that's great.
Yeah,
Secondly, just so you're aware, we have the possibility of, and I only say this, the possibility of donors paying for this phase one.
Yeah.
Well, I think you have to really explore that as
Yes.
much as you can, and
Yes,
also
we will.
grants, because
Yes,
you're asking for $112,000 basically. I mean, after you pay the 12,500,
mhm.
Well, the
and you want a
contingency could be more, right?
$31,000 dog park.
The other thing about that, just so you know, there will be a bidding process for outsourcing aspects of this project, phase one, that would fall outside of the scope of the services that that are part of this project, and that could be like the butterfly gardens,
Right.
could be,
fencing.
yeah, it could be a donated part, and even the maintenance of it, someone would have, advertising, this is provided by whatever, garden club, Spiderweb, Tuft and Burr, landscape,
You have more latitude with donated money.
yes,
If you're using town's money, if you're using the $10,000 or whatever is voted on at another town meeting, you have to follow the procurement policy. Things would have to go into RFP.
yes.
Yeah, all of
Well,
this would have to be bid.
Yeah, this, especially this outsourcing, like fencing for the dog park, that could
Mhm.
be
But
RFP, that could
even
be
the
3 bids.
paving of the bump park
Right.
and the bike trail or whatever you're doing, all of that has to go out on the street. So the more money you can raise yourselves,
More
Mhm.
control.
the more control you have over if you wanna
Yeah.
just stay with the guys you have.
Yeah, well, that's what we're thinking we would do,
Yeah.
so, sure, that will all work.
And as you know, this would be a much easier sell to the taxpayer, the more money that you.
That's
Yeah.
that's the other
Right.
part too.
Um,
Which should be heavily advertised at all of your events this summer.
Oh, absolutely. So what we plan to do, so if you look at the last page of this, this handout that I gave you, this is the process that we have been suggested to do, and we want you to be familiar with it. And I just want to mention to you right now that if any of you have questions, Andrew, who is our design project manager, design builder consultant, is available. I could call him right now. We could have him on conference call if you have questions specifically of him
But
at
he's
this
gonna be
point
in
in
town.
stage. And he's coming to town next week, and maybe offline. We'd like for any of you to meet with him if you have any concerns, questions, suggestions, whatever. Yeah, and then in June, what we plan, because this is a public project and the legislative voters have passed it with the Warren article, we want to have a public June picnic on site at Central Park, like we do Old Homestay or whatever, and possibly stake out some of these phase one items so people could see it. We'll have a wonderful, yeah, we'll have a great, I don't know, potluck picnic or whatever we do, or park and rec. And it could just be a fun time so that we can all visualize what this sort of empty piece of property with the town could be. I will say this also, that because it's right there right beside the fire department, it's the safest place we have probably in town for something like this, for all ages, seniors, walking trail, children. And we have had some studies done that says any park like this that is located 1 mile from a school will have an instant 30% actual usage and visits, and that's really great. The other thing I want to mention just personally is I had a conversation just last week after we got back from the winter away with the local AA supervisor, a manager or whatever. His name is Steve. And he was saying, and of course we all know that New Hampshire is the #1 state for opioid or drug abuse in our whole United States. He was just telling me last week, not only is it the #1 state, but now it's just, the numbers have just, gone way off the charts. It's just getting worse. So having a place like this, that young children of all ages, children, families, dogs, parents, teenagers, college kids, would have something really healthy, outdoor, fresh air, and somehow reach, if we only just reach 1 or 2 kids and save them from drug abuse or alcohol abuse or abuse, whatever, it's worth the project. It really is. And then my other last little soapbox thing is, I just got a email Dennis did to the local park and recs of the last of the 4, Tuftonboro, Moultonboro, Central Harbor, and Sandwich Park and Rec directors, who the Lions Club president has asked if we would consider participating in a pickleball fun day for the families that would be in Moultonboro. I went online and I checked just for curiosity. And now we found out that Ossipee, Center Harbor, Sandwich, and Moultonboro all have outdoor pickleball courts, and Tuftonboro has nothing. We have Tuftonboro Central School indoor. So we are really lacking in outdoor activities. And we, it's time to step up to the plate. It really is.
If the major indicator in outdoor activities is pickleball,
It's not
then we
major.
have more issues to talk about. I
Yeah,
think.
we do.
So you've got 20 parking spots
Mhm.
illustrated here,
Yes.
and I don't see anything in your budget for creating those.
They actually, they may not need to be created because if you recall, Castle McLeod has huge concerts and so forth,
Mhm.
and they park right on the grass all the time. or Sandwich has its, you know, its end.
That just could be somewhat limited by the season.
It could be,
Right.
sure. And,
Obviously,
I mean,
March.
obviously, we're not going to ignore that, and Chip, that's a really important comment you made, and we'll address that.
Thank you.
Yeah, but grass is, you know, not uncommon, but we'll,
No, I don't have a problem with parking on the grass, I just want, if you're wanting to establish 20 parking spots, then they need to be usable
Sure.
when the facility's being used.
Yeah. And you're right, I agree with you.
So a little more ground, maybe.
Mhm. Any other questions, comments?
Ellie, you have anything to add to this?
So, Bob, I heard you mention, next town meeting, we have a window of opportunity with, getting, you know, the town, with the public, the June picnic and information like this, and with all of you. This could actually, phase one only, could happen this year,
Next year.
if the funds are here.
If you can get the
If you,
funds.
if you
Donation.
get, if you get the donated funds,
Okay.
Yes.
yes,
Yes, all right, that's what I wanted to hear.
yeah.
How much-
You've gotten, you've gotten the legislative body, the voters of the town,
Yes.
have approved
Yes,
that they're in favor of moving forward with this,
they are.
so.
The CIP
that's
has
kind of-
approved it,
That's kind
yeah.
of what I wanted to hear.
Is there any kind of permitting process that they're?
No.
No.
Not with this.
No, you know, this basically, really, guys, is just moving dirt, sort of. I mean, there's a lot more to it, obviously, we're gonna do it right and well, but it's not rocket science, and these are the professionals who've done this for the Walton family.
This is why we have avoided pickleball, because that is in fact rocket science.
No, it is not, it's fun, it's great exercise, it's great for all ages. Chip, I'd like to get you out on the court. Any other questions?
Sell.
Ah,
You gotta sell this.
Any other thoughts or questions?
We just got it, so I think. we'll
Okay,
Thank you
probably-
very much.
thank
They
you
know
all.
you're leaving by 7, this group?
Yes.
Yeah, there are.
See, he's in his park and rec now.
Please Scott reserved, everything to use a little
Thank you
bit
very much. Thank you all. You dismissed?
Yes,
Thank you, Bob,
you're welcome.
Chip, and Dave.
Thanks for coming in.
Years, but congratulations.
Thank you.
You're doing a good job.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right.
All right.
You talk about computer and stuff.
Yeah, what happened to cemetery?
Cemetery's next.
Where is she?
She left,
She left?
Is,
she leave or did she go out back to the file cabinet?
no, she left.
That's how Sue walked out.
She left.
Sue Weeks out here anywhere? Sue Weeks out here?
no,
Left. All
That's
right.
her.
She gone.
The next was 6:15 was our road agent, who's not here. We've already talked about road paving priorities. Our police chief is here, so let's bring up the police chief first.
come on,
Monthly
down,
update,
chief.
or weekly update. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi there.
Papers are sticking together.
You already have they already had them, no, they're different.
Yeah, it might be different.
It's a little more expensive.
Yeah.
Than it was the news.
Careful.
That's what they hit me every time. All right. Nothing really to report regarding directed patrols, calls for service, and investigations. MP, Master Patrol Officer Lefebvre did have a call for what could possibly be felony level assault. This domestic violence related yesterday, and we are working on that investigation as we speak, which carried over into today. I can give you more probably the next size up that we have to some degree. Candidate with a conditional offer. Polygraph is scheduled for April 23rd, which is Tuesday, and I'm still working on getting the medical physical scheduled. I ran into more snafus, as we discussed before, about the payment of the medical physical. Instead of waiting for who I already had reached out to, I decided to call urgent care in Alton. They would not bill us. They would not use a department credit card. It had to be the individual's credit card on file in case whatever their policy is. And it cost more money, so I hung up the phone very nicely, and I'm still working on that aspect. I do have a call into Huggins Hospital to see if I can push a little bit of that process, because that's really going to be the only step after the polygraph, other than meeting with you guys after. Okay, so I'll be working on that. Snowstorm of April 4th through the 5th. I think, quite frankly, in my opinion, it went very smooth between the PD and the fire department with long hours. I think we handled it as best as we could. I don't remember a snowstorm being this harsh ever. I mean, we've had ice storms and stuff, but it just seemed to be trees down, then you can't plow the road. If they involve the wires, then you can't move them unless, you know, electric is there. We did our best. Welfare checks continued for the next couple days of people that were concerned about family members that may not have power. Both police and fire did turn around and do several welfare checks. There was one individual that lives alone that did not have heat or electricity, and she really felt that the best solution, she didn't want to be somewhere that involved a cot and a warming center somewhere, so she had a friend that had connections with the Wind Drifter, and I loaded her up in my cruiser and I gave her a ride over the Wind Drifter and got her checked in and settled in, and I believe she is back home now. So that was really the only one that I'm aware of that she chose to be displaced, and we got her to where she needed to be.
Nice,
so
thank
she was you know, had way to prepare food and was warm, and yeah.
On that subject, I was receiving daily, sometimes multiple updates from the fire chief, who's also our emergency management director, and things seem to be going just as you are saying. There weren't any, you know, there were people that were caught behind trees that couldn't get out, but they're in Tufton Borough being a pretty self-sufficient community, people were being self-sufficient. And they really, we talked about the possibility of opening up a warming shelter at the school. It was prepared, it was ready, the generator was all set. But ultimately the decision was made that we didn't need to, because there really wasn't a crisis of anybody needing to go. But I commend both you and the fire chief for your efforts, and I think everybody stayed safe and warm.
Yeah, I can speak for the PD side of things, that on the welfare checks, we made sure that they had maybe some way to have heat. Did they want to stick it out, that kind of thing? Did they have cell service? Could they, you know,
Contact you if you need.
contact us if we needed, you know, do they have a vehicle that works in case they can get out, or at least start it up to charge their cell phone, because we didn't have electricity. So we had all these questions in place when we did our welfare checks. There was a majority of the people that the PD side spoke to that they didn't really want to displace. They wanted to hang it out, hoping that the electricity was coming back on. And so I think, you know, I know Adam had the generator moved to the school and things just in case. And he had a totally different set of people that probably called into him, or he may have had contact with. But I think as a general rule, I think we did okay.
I think if the temperature was 20 degrees colder, we'd be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Yep.
You're right. Some of these houses, like this individual that wanted to leave, I mean, inside of her house was 64 degrees. I think that's a manageable thing, right? Instead of inside your house at 20 degrees.
Right.
So, you know, so there's a difference there. And I think that after the storm went through on that following Saturday, we were still doing welfare checks. And lo and behold, the sun came up and was really warm coming in, you know, people's houses and stuff. So I think that helped too. So I think you're absolutely right. The temperature of when this took place.
Yeah, you look out the window right now, 7 days ago, we had 2 feet of snow on the ground.
Correct, yeah,
It's all
it's
gone.
crazy. Yeah. I signed a race permit for the Wolf Triathlon. It's gonna be Saturday, July 27th. The event has the bicycle route going through Tufton Borough. So they're gonna come out of Wolfboro on Middle Road. They're gonna turn onto Federal Corner Road. They're gonna turn onto Brown Road. And then by the time they hit Beach Pond Road, they are already back in Wolfboro. So they're gonna be handling their own people to kind of take care of things along the way. They probably are going to put some signage, kind of like we see with the Granite Man Triathlon the day before, with little signs on the road, just to caution people ahead of time. And they're going to take care of the rest of it. As it stands, schedule-wise, I could very well be working, but no matter how we look at it, there will be an officer that will be checking in on the route, making sure that people are obeying traffic laws and things are safe. Same type of thing. Granite Man Triathlon, I signed a race permit for them August 17th during the morning hours. We only hold part of the bike route in Tufton Borough. They're going to come out of Forest Road in Wolfboro and Governor Wentworth Highway into town, cross over Union Wharf Road, and then they're heading back to Wolfboro on Middle Road. And the exact same thing. They have their own people that are going to take care of majority of that stuff, but we continue to patrol those times to make sure everything's safe.
I had a question about the permits, the race permits. Is that something that typically that the police chief signs, or is that something that the selectmen would sign?
I don't think the selectmen have ever signed them.
Okay.
The signature block at the bottom of the race permit from the state is chief of police.
Okay.
Yeah.
So took it upon myself to sign it.
And it's,
No, that's why I'm asking the question.
No.
and we're not gonna be out there patrolling.
Nope, nope.
And I do have them on file with the PA. if you-
What?
so.
The roads would be public ways, eh?
Yes, they are.
Ashley came into the PD, went over some files and things like that needed to kind of be put in order and in check. She did a fantastic job and spent several hours on our side, so I greatly appreciate her and Audrey as well. At this time, I have memberships with Carroll County Chiefs Association, New Hampshire Association of Chiefs of Police, and the New England Chiefs of Police Association. I know you folks wanted me to kind of get that up and running, so that is there. I drafted extended authority agreements for our neighboring towns, and I'll be working it maybe this week into next week, meeting with the chiefs of those towns. We're going to start getting those in place. There is a state law that does give us emergency authority to cover each other, but the extended authority agreements have definitions of, you know, who's a non-jurisdictional officer, who's jurisdictional, who's gonna be in charge of prosecution, that kind of thing, and I think that's important. So I'm gonna be pushing forward with that as well.
And there's a mutual aid component to that as well.
Extended authority and mutual aid are one and the same.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. And just a reminder, drug take back is April 27th, about 2 Saturdays from now, and 10 to 2.
Bring that drugs up.
That's right, so.
Can I ask you a question,
Certainly.
going back a bullet?
Yeah.
Is this a new thing, or is this just an ongoing thing that happens every year with the extended authority agreement?
They are agreements between the chiefs as to how we back each other up, how we request each other, how we back each other up, who's responsible for prosecution. It happens between the chiefs. So when you have an old chief transition out, a new one comes in, as a general rule, the new chief coming in would be responsible for updating it with their signature block.
Okay, so
They're
this
not the new chief.
Right, but it's been in place, it's just that because you're taking over the position?
Correct.
Okay.
There has always been one in place, and I mean, we're probably talking decades, right? So
Sure.
there's one been in place. Chief Shigori would turn around and say, for instance, Ospey got a new chief, they would update the agreement, but we've always had one with Ospey.
Okay, great.
You know, that type of thing. So,
I was
Yep.
just curious.
and the body of it doesn't really change or anything like that, other than a signature blocks and agreeing.
Sure.
I think we did do one with Sandwich last year.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yep. I can touch base with with Chief Arnie about that. I think there might be some transition coming into play in the next couple months, so I'll talk with him and see if he wants to do something now and then again later, or whether he just wants to hold off. But I made a note here, I'll definitely touch base with them.
I know that there was some back and forth that Chief Shigori had with, I think it was Sandwich.
Yeah.
And so it'd be nice to smooth that out a little bit.
Yep, I have a good rapport with Chief Arnie, so it shouldn't be an issue at all. Yep, I'll do one as well.
Good.
And that's all I have for you, gentlemen.
Okay. Your badge still says sergeant.
Better not.
Your name badge.
Oh, yes, that's, I've ordered it, And I've learned very quickly that when the name badge has the name only is the way to go, not have your rank on it as well, right? So, but by law, I must have one visible.
Right.
And it's in the works.
And all the equipment and radars and radios and all that stuff was all in order. And as our car sold,
The car was posted.
okay.
Was it Craigslist in New Hampshire MA?
NHMA, and it's on our website, and
NHMA.
I also sent the ad specifically to the person who's bid the highest in the past.
We took care of it. Audrey took care of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It hasn't sold
on the
yet.
roll.
It hasn't sold yet.
No.
Okay.
No, and
No,
nobody's
bids aren't
contacted
due
me, so-
until what? I don't know, the 26th or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the month.
And you had, that red folder, I think, too, Bob.
Yes, that was my next question. Are you gonna be around for a while?
Sure.
Because we have a non-public to do, but I kind of want to save that to the end of the meeting.
Absolutely.
If you're leaving, we can do it now.
No, I think that'll be fine.
All right,
You want, I'll just go over in my office and get some stuff
Sure,
done.
I
You
can
wanna
text
text me?
you.
I'll be right back. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, signature file, we took care of that already. Action items, we took care of that already. Correspondence. Lots of correspondence here today. We have a note from a letter from our chair of the Conservation Commission, Steve Capicchio, to Melissa Chapin of 301 Governor Wentworth Highway about posting no hunting signs on the property. We also have a letter from,
Posting no hunting signs where?
during our discussion about this is from Steve to Melissa. During our discussion about the no hunting signs posted on property, you mentioned that you checked the conservation documents and they stated that there was no hunting allowed on the Parkhurst property. I reviewed all the documents we have on file and could not find anything that restricts hunting on the Parkhurst property. If you have such documentation, please forward it to me and I will review. All town property is open to hunting with the exception of property that has been restricted by deed, easement, or selectmen's approval. You cannot post town property without the permission of the select board. In the future, before you post any signs on the Parkhurst property, I suggest that you make an appointment with the selectmen to gain permission. In the event that the selectmen feel the property should be posted, they can notify the Conservation Commission and we can post the appropriate signage.
So somebody posted it without,
Selectmen's permission.
Right.
On a similar note, same resident, apparently that there was a drainage issue in between properties, and the town road agent did some work to the property, which, according to this letter, I'm not gonna read the whole letter to you folks and share pictures, but you're certainly welcome to look at it. The road agent made some adjustments to the property, which seems to have made the water problem worse. So I recommend that you.
Yeah, I
This
read, I
letter.
talked to Jack about it as well, cause Jack took a look at it, and I was kinda hoping that, Jim was gonna be here tonight, so we
Yeah.
could flesh out what the
So
issue
we
was.
can discuss this, yes, maybe we can,
You know,
And I'd
table it
go-
till he's here
Table it
and,
till he's
make
here.
sure he has a copy ahead of time.
yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Received a letter from Steve Stetner, questioning the decision, re-questioning the decision of the selectmen on the 171, MX 171 property, and questioning a recent special exception decision by the ZBA.
And
These are two independent issues.
I didn't recognize the name on the ZBA application.
I think the name on the application is irrelevant, it was just the decision that was in question.
But what would they do? To do anything on their property? I mean, that doesn't seem like a reasonable request.
No, but the special exception was denied. Now, I'm not gonna get into the little detail, I'm not gonna bring up the argument. The selectmen essentially have made their decision on the 171 property, the MX 171. And the ZBA has made their decision on the case that's mentioned here. DuPont is the family name, I believe. These are independent decisions. They both reflect section 5.2.2 of the zoning ordinance. That's why Mr. Stetner is calling this into question. But those are individual circumstances that are voted on the merits of each application or question, whatever you want to call it, and I know I stand behind my decision. And the selectmen made their decision on the MX 171 property, and I can't speak to the ZBA's decision. That's their decision. We're
not part of that.
we're not part of that. So you're welcome to read the letter.
No, I did.
Okay,
I'd like to.
you as well.
Yeah.
And you
Do you want me to scan it and send it to you?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
That'd be great.
This is just a notification from the Bureau of Tax and Land Appeals that we pay our taxes and when they're due. This is a notification from North Country Village Cooperative Water Project that any grants that they have applied for that project have been completed. And we are invited to the Lakes Region Planning Commission annual meeting, 2024 annual meeting. So if you're interested in going,
Don't we have a representative on that?
that's
Isn't it Galvin?
yeah, Tim Galvin,
Right.
yeah. Would you make sure that Tim Galvin gets a copy of this? He probably already has it.
I was wondering if you'd want to nominate our Conservation Commission Chairman for the Environmental Award, because I think when I read it, he fits the bill for being recognized in his efforts to conserve property, water studies, grants.
Deadline for submission is May 1st.
And I can write it up if you like,
So that's gonna be, we're gonna have one selectmen's meeting
before.
before then, on the the day
Okay, so
before,
I'll get it
on
ready.
the 30th. So, I don't have an issue with that, I think,
Not at all. I think it's a good
This is
idea.
well deserved.
Okay.
Do you want a motion?
No.
Okay. We have a letter from Vegetation Control Services that they're gonna be spraying power lines as part of their New Hampshire Electric Cooperative contract. Spraying.
There is an opt-out for everybody,
Spraying them.
even for us as a town. But I-
To defoliate,
Yeah, Agent Orange.
not a
Paraquat.
but something much healthier, I hope.
Glyphosate.
But yeah, all the information is in here where they're planning on defoliating. And Wetlands Bureau, standard dredge and fill wetlands permit application. This is an application, we don't have to do anything, this is just a notification that somebody has applied and it's, I assume it's been approved.
And the town clerk and the conservation commission both get that.
That's done. And that's done, and the last is, let's see, town administrator and selectmen's updates.
I'll be super quick because I know we're in a little bit of a crunch today.
We're good, we got 25 minutes?
25 minutes. Okay, so
One.
the employees of the town currently work with Joe Nelson on Aflac insurance for their short-term, long-term life, and I think there's additional insurances that Aflac offers. And he has approached me and he is now working with Colonial Life. It is significantly less expensive for the employee, the benefits are better, and he's recommending that the town move over everything except the life insurance. And, you know, he can come in and speak to the board if you want. I felt, based on his presentation to me, that it
We don't
was-
pay anything for the Aflac.
You don't pay anything, right?
So it's
This
an arrangement between the insurance company and the employee. So the employee has to, or the employee body that has that stuff needs to agree to the change. The selectmen
Right, so
only arrange the meeting.
you're good with him approaching the employees and presenting it?
I mean,
I don't have a problem with
If I'm the employee, I wanna save money,
Okay,
why wouldn't I wanna hear about
with
that?
better benefits, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
great.
but we don't vote on it.
No, but we, the only thing we really do is process the bill,
Right.
because I withhold from the employees'
Right.
checks and pay.
Yeah.
So that's, the biggest thing I need a decision on.
Is there an opportunity for the employee to choose one or the other?
We don't.
Or is it's either Colonial or Aflac or some other company?
I don't think he's pushing people out of Aflac, but I think he'll make a good sale, why not stay with them?
But what I'm saying is the town,
Is it an all or nothing?
yeah, thank you.
I think it is gonna be an all or nothing, yeah,
But that's their decision.
Right.
okay.
So
We didn't, we never said, okay, we're only gonna have one extra insurance company come to town. I mean, if there were 4 or 5 of them that wanted to visit the employees,
Mhm.
So from a pragmatic point, how do the employee, I mean, do the employees have a representative that would take care of stuff
Well,
like
we don't
this?
have a union,
Right,
but
Yeah.
you could take a straw poll, I suppose.
they take care of themselves. And we arrange the meeting.
Yeah, I'll arrange a meeting with Joe,
Right.
present it to the employees,
okay.
Yeah.
so.
So
and-
you're gonna, I mean, if it's an all or nothing thing, then I would assume that they need to have some sort of vote, or, I don't know.
It's my first time.
No, they don't vote. They either elect to take the product or not.
Right,
And
but what if somebody, you know,
I
20% of them want this and 80% of them want that, how does that work?
I think it's a straw poll.
Okay,
They gotta find somebody, he's working for Colonial now. They're gonna have to find somebody else that's working for Aflac, if that's the
yeah,
2 companies.
I guess I'm just saying that
Yeah.
there doesn't appear that there's any process to this, so.
I'll have to make one up as I go along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so you heard I posted the cruiser, I'm up to date on the budget minutes. How did it work getting things electronically prior to the meeting?
Good.
Okay, but you,
Appreciate anything I can get prior to the meeting.
but you still want it printed as well?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So Dave, you can let me know as you go along.
Well, so here's the thing, I mean, if you're gonna have to make a copy for either of these gentlemen, then I'll take a copy
Okay,
here. But I love the fact that I can
alright,
peruse things ahead of time.
okay. We'll try to get more and more in the packet to you on Thursdays.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to read everything as much as I can ahead of time, but I expect a full packet
Okay,
when I come in.
alright, perfect. I need to set up an appointment with Pete LaChapelle about waste management, and I still have to follow up with Jim Rhines on the retaining wall. He's recently dropped to planning, so I know he's around. And then,
You talking the 19 Mile Bay Beach?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And, the bank accounts is just the beginning of forecasting, so you can start seeing what cash you have, how revenue changes, and what the big expenses are coming up. I did just get the bill for this year's payment for the fire station, so we have like 15 days to turn it around, so you will see that to sign this week. And I wanted to bring your attention to the budget because I've basically used all the budget time for Ashley. So I want your permission to continue using her to clean up files and take budget selectmen minutes. And Cammie may be out on surgery for a couple of weeks. I might need a little help then.
Okay, do we have a source for where we're gonna pay her from?
Well, it would be paid under the same line. I think you will be under your police chief budget. I'm not sure where else in the budget you'll be under right now.
Excuse me, the clerical assistance line, you also have an administrative overtime line you
Right.
can tap. And I thought that there was.
We have an ad hoc secretary, so
Right.
that'll cover her effort in the budget committee.
That's got $2,300 left in it, I think, or 20. No, ad hoc secretary. Yeah, $2,400 left there. I think we're gonna be fine.
So I'll raise a flag in a
Yeah.
couple months if I'm still concerned.
Yeah.
All right. I had a note from New Hampshire Retirement System that I didn't do the report for retirees. I wasn't fully aware that I have to do that, but I guess since the town has some New Hampshire retirees that are on staff, like our transfer station person, so I need to get that report in and catch up on some federal unemployment reports that the auditor brought to my attention. And I'm working on some finance policies. I'm working on a spreadsheet for the budget committee to track the transfer station based on the request of the new budget committee member. Who's helped me figure some things out.
Troublemaker.
And I guess that's it for right now.
And you're working on rules of procedure?
Yes. Yep, I have the Board of Selectmen rules of procedure, and I ordered a new computer for the transfer station.
With a big screen. I think I saw it. So I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, as long as we're having a conversation, I happen to print out the, like, hours and phone numbers and stuff for the town, and noticed that the selectmen's, contact, or meeting times is off, so we should update
Seal
that.
schedule.
Okay, I'll verify that, yeah.
Town report,
Yes,
we went over. How'd that happen?
I must have ordered too many. Actually, we didn't get a quote beforehand, so maybe I
Okay.
need to get a quote from Minuteman in the future to find out.
Yeah,
How much over?
$300. I mean, it's not a great, it's just, I'd never seen that line over. Maybe it is that we always did get a quote.
Before the budget season.
Yeah,
Or, yeah, before we finalize the budget, at any rate.
there was one group, I think it was the Carroll County Communication Committee.
Right,
I felt like their report, maybe we don't wanna include the whole thing or ask them to consolidate it because there's some reports I have no control over.
oh, and the printing of the,
Yeah,
right,
I think the fire department maybe could consolidate their report a little,
well, how do they bill you by the page, is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay,
the pages you print.
alright,
Communications district, that must have been short.
A lot of white space.
Really?
It was like 8 pages,
Really?
yeah.
so. It seems like, I'm trying to figure out why the transfer station heat is all used up. He's used 82% of his budget for that. And nobody else seems to have had that problem. Town office heat, we've only used 48%. So look into that for me if you would.
I will.
Okay. And a new line on fire for medical rescue billing. I don't know what that is.
Isn't
That's
that,
revenue, right?
isn't that where we,
That should be revenue.
Yeah, this is an expense though.
I don't know.
So you got $800 budget item,
software probably?
and you spent $709, so just,
I think that was in last week's manifest, but I'll double check it.
right. And then the highway budget's completely messed up, but we knew that was gonna happen. Yeah. Thanks. And I had, can I just keep going?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I had also asked the office to get a hold of the engineering company for 19 Mile Bay to look at Lake Street and Melvin Wharf, so we can get some pricing going on
Would
that.
that be HEB or,
It was, excuse me, Tyler Phillips on Union Wharf. So, and that's transferred over to that other fellow that actually did the
Mike
work.
Duffy?
McDuffie,
Yeah, but he works for,
Horizon,
Horizon.
right. Right, so Tyler Phillips, start there,
Okay.
and we'll go from that, and then the board will have something they can look at going forward. There's one other thing I did. I can't remember what it was.
You bought new shoes, that's what you did.
I did. They last exactly 18 months. I'm done, Bob.
You
Thanks.
done?
Yep.
I'm all set.
Okay, I mean, me too, everything that I was gonna talk about in updates, we talked about already. Other business,
I wasn't clear if you gave the go-ahead for the list of roads that were discussed, or you're gonna talk to the road agent in a couple of weeks and verify what he's gonna put out to bid this year.
Well, we have to get some bidding going
yeah,
on.
we have to vote,
Right.
we didn't vote, we took a ride around, we took notes,
Right.
and came up with a,
Priorities.
So far, we've agreed on the minutes, that's about it.
Yeah. yeah, but I think we need to officially, take a vote on where we're moving forward.
Do you want
But we
Jim
don't wanna,
here?
I'm sorry.
I know if you wanted Jim here for discussion.
Yeah, we don't wanna vote until we know how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
hopefully what has happened after the drive around is what happened last time, is he gets back with his paving people and gets pricing. And then we look at that and say, okay, go ahead with whatever, Tuftonboro Neck.
We based our paving budget for the budget this year based on paving that he presented to us.
Right.
He came back to us right at the end of budget season and said, oh, by the way, you should put some money aside for prep work. About
Right.
$75,000 in prep work, so that's not there. So, he did include Pine Mill Drive for paving this year, but if he's gotta do prep work, that's gonna take from that. So, so I think that he needs to get pricing, put it out to bid for the remainder of the work on Tuftonboro Neck Road. The work up at Shirley Way, the final paving at Shirley Way, and then we can.
So the Pine Mill is for prep only?
I think that that's all we're gonna have money left for.
Okay, so it's.
Well, we don't
it's-
know until we.
But we don't know
Yeah,
until,
yeah, okay.
until these prices come in.
Right.
And while he's at it, since we did talk about Pine Mill Drive, you should probably get a quote on Pine Mill Drive too. We just may not pave it this year.
We need to look at some sort of patching on Sodom Road.
we talked about that.
I mean, it's either that or it's gonna tear itself up, and then you end up
Yep.
having less to grind.
He's more concerned about the edges on Sodom Road, you know, some of the delamination he's a little bit concerned about, but,
Yeah,
you know, he didn't really wanna do any shimming,
right.
so I guess we need to talk more about that.
Right.
But I think by not paving Pine Mill Drive this year, we'll have the money to do the prep work and maybe some repairs on Sodom.
Yeah, I think we need to get some cost figures on the two big projects,
Yes,
and then we'll know where we can go from there.
we all agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Other business? All right, if we can get the police chief back, yeah, we're gonna be going into non-public.
Have a great evening, gents. Always a pleasure.
I'll make a motion that we go into non-public for. Bear with me here.
Personnel.
I have a cheat sheet right here that was conveniently left for me. Personnel, I move we go into non-public for RSA 91A:3, 2A, dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the discipline of such employee, or the investigation of any charges him or her, unless the employee affected has a right to a public hearing, and request that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted.
Reading the whole thing.
They
So
can-
powerful.
They can,
Do we motions?
read that online.
Murray, yes?
Dauphin, yes?
I'll be yes,
Okay,
Who seconded?
I didn't get a second.
I don't think you need a second when we call out, do you? You made a motion, I'll second it.
Probably not. Probably not.
No.
Okay, we've come out of non-public, and that concludes our Talk to Our Selectmen's meeting. I'll make a motion that we
Adjourn?
adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.